Hi everybody, welcome to an update what's new video on PowerStudio version 18. Here I'm showing just the IDERA.com homepage, and here's the banner bar for the new version of PowerStudio and some highlights. And then here under the products drill down, you can get to the overview pages for PowerStudio. So PowerStudio is a DBA bundle that has a couple of different components. Here's the drill down area just from IDERA.com, DB PowerStudio. And then here further down the summary page, you can see the different components. And so some nice enhancements in DBArtisan and DBOptimizer in this new version, and then other product fixes and enhancements for the other tools that make up the PowerStudio bundle. Okay, so you have the summary pages here that you can drill down into, but maybe just a couple of slides to introduce what's new. As I just showed, the website's updated, and so everybody's eligible to upgrade as you normally might. PowerStudio, again, is a tool set with some different components. There's a DBA and developer edition, and then there's day-to-day functionality for those type of database professionals. So for DBAs, you have administration areas, user security management, managing data sets, data wizards, extraction utilities. So a DBA tool set with some powerlifting features, and now quite a number of platforms supported. Then the DBOptimizer component adds SQL optimization and performance tuning. And so those are some areas that were enhanced in this new version. The big platform edition for DBArtisan is Amazon Redshift. DBArtisan already supported Postgres, and now DBOptimizer has added Postgres to the existing platforms that DBOptimizer had supported for SQL analysis and optimization. Okay, so here's just a couple of screenshots. I have the products open in the background, so let's show some live action of DBArtisan and Amazon Redshift, DBOptimizer for Postgres, and then we'll wrap up with some closing areas that should be helpful. Again, just some summary areas of where DBArtisan helps and now have all this functionality in the Amazon Redshift environment. And then for DBOptimizer, some of the major platforms that DBOptimizer has supported have this whole scope of functionality. Look for more functionality for Postgres to grow, but of course you'll have the no agent install, the ability to look at SQL in an analysis mode, look at the visual query, and then look for some enhancements in terms of expert recommendations and database profiling as we continue to enhance the Postgres support in DBOptimizer. Okay, so let me just switch over to another environment where I have some things ready to go for us. Okay, so here's DBArtisan. Again, the splash page updated, so you have the welcome banner that I like to show within just the navigation page. And so view, show welcome is a way to show this homepage. And this has, some history for you, recent files, recent database connections, so that's going to be helpful to be aware of. And then some jumpstart tutorials and let you know what version you're on. But then, your starting point would be building your navigation tree or connecting to different environments. And so here you can see if I just right-click register, now we have Amazon Redshift as a supported platform for DBArtisan. Okay, so here you can see some different environments I'm connected to. And then in my Explorer tree, you have more of the drill down capabilities and double click capabilities, right? So you have the data source navigator to build your connection tree or clone, right? So once you have a connection, you can duplicate that, register like, or just go into edit and then just confirm that a connection's valid and open for you. So these are the areas that you'd expect in a new version support. And then, of course, your parameters and connection information will be saved for you. You can have auto connect, and then choose that platform in your navigation tree, and you'll have the typical performance drill down areas. So I can drill down into my database objects here in my Amazon Redshift environment. I can see all my tables, views, drill into my tables, and then you have double click functionality, for example, into object browsing, DDL, data visualization, or export import capabilities. So I could start right-clicking on objects here, and there's all kinds of actions on my tables or objects in an Amazon Redshift environment. I can double-click here and then open up my schema navigator where I have a DDL view on individual tables, the data tab for individual tables, and even the ability to alter. So you can see I could go to the structure tab, alters grayed out, but here's create, drop, alter. Here, if I started to make changes, you'd see editable dialog boxes here, and then you can make changes to objects on the fly. Of course, just a SQL editor, right? The ability just to type SQL and execute SQL in ways you might expect in a color-coded editor. So here, if I just start typing, you see different pop-up windows for different object types, and then the ability to select objects, in a graphical way if you're comfortable typing or executing or selecting that way. And then the execution arrows we're all probably familiar with in terms of executing one or multiple, right? So I could just highlight an individual SQL and execute that, bring back a single result set, or I could just single click within multiple statements and then have multiple result tabs. And so that's a setting. You could have individual result tabs or in a single sheet. So there's different areas here that you can explore, but obviously this is helpful for having this in Amazon, right? So you have the Object Explorer, the ability to extract or take actions on your objects, right-click obviously throughout, even have a query builder, right? If you're maybe newer to seeing how SQL is written, of course, Rapid SQL and DBArtisan have that functionality. And then some of the DDL extraction features, right? So here under my utilities, schema extraction, this would step me through a wizard, being able to extract all my Amazon object types, and then perhaps lock those down in a version control system, or deploy to another target, for example. Okay, so you're encouraged to download and upgrade to the latest version, and then you'll have the continued functionality for these existing platforms, and then now we have the new support for Amazon Redshift. But almost double digits here in terms of the platforms we support, and as Amazon supports more in the cloud, so does IDERA in terms of growing with those different hosted environments compared to, say, traditional on-prem or RDBMS platforms. So there's a list of Amazon in DBArtisan. And then here, if I move over to DB Optimizer, DB Optimizer traditionally supported the four big platforms, right? And so DB2, SQL Server, Oracle, Sybase, of course, are still there. And now we've added initial functionality for Postgres. And so you'll see that in the navigation tree here. And then, again, similar right-click, register like would let you clone an existing data source or just edit, make sure your connection's working, and the ability to, just test an existing connection, make sure your connection's valid. And then here's some maybe traditional features for the DB Optimizer, right, that have existed for existing platforms, right? So profiling, capturing, and then the ability to analyze a SQL statement, perhaps look at indexes that are or aren't being used, look at the visual explain plan and query. And so these are the initial areas that were brought in for Postgres. And so here, here's maybe just an example of that, or maybe to see some live action here. Here's in my SQL Project Explorer where you have shortcuts to different DB Optimizer files. Let me open up an example of a SQL statement in Postgres. And so you could just, open up a new SQL file or query, and then just cut and paste, or if you're comfortable typing, you can do that as well. So here I just opened up from an existing saved SQL or .SQL statement into my Postgres SQL file editor, right? So you have these different areas. For Postgres, you'll have the SQL file support, the tuning job for analysis, look for more to grow in terms of profiling and load testing. But here, if I just wanted to test this SQL with a green execution arrow, run that, make sure I'm connected, and bring back my result set. And then for detailed analysis, again, I could open up an existing tuning window or right-click on a statement, and there's shortcuts, and here's integration to the tuning for Postgres. And so similar to other platforms where you have the overview tab and then the analysis tab. And so here in Postgres, we have the overview tab and then these different checkboxes. And so here we start with initial support for Postgres, where we have the detailed analysis and then the visual query plan. And so from here, I can go to the analysis tab, and that would point out, say, indexes, allow me to examine in a visual display the SQL details. And so then again, the similar run arrow here would take this through the analysis engine for Postgres, and then you'll see some different areas populated here in terms of cases and indexes, and then go to the analysis tab, and then here you can see maybe some more details on this SQL statement. So if I go into detail mode, I can actually highlight the object or database transaction at that point, and that would highlight within my SQL. So maybe if you have some folks that are newer to SQL analysis, you can see cardinality, hover over text, see the crow's feet. So we call this a visual query plan. And then on the lower portion, you can see indexes that perhaps could be used by this statement, and then indexes that aren't affecting this statement. So that makes up some of the analysis. And then, as I mentioned, look for more enhancements here as we continue to expand the Postgres support in DB Optimizer. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining. Those were a couple of the main highlights in the new version 18. And then, of course, from IDERA.com or however you upgrade, you'll be able to move up to this latest version 18. Okay, thanks everybody for joining, and good luck with PowerStudio version 18. Thanks.